Star Wars Episode VIII: The Last Jedi is directed by Rian Johnson, and it stars Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Adam Driver, Andy Serkis, and Mark Hamill returning as Luke Skywalker, and the late Carrie Fisher as Princess/General Leia.
If you haven't had a chance to go see it because we will be talking spoilers, so you have been warned.
So let's just start off with the positives for this movie, because there's a lot of good that happens in this movie, and there's a lot of bad that happens in this movie. So right off the bat, I just want to talk about the music. I thought the music, again, was fantastic. We'll get into the music more in the negatives, but they brought back the original themes, they brought back the themes from Force Awakens, and it sounded nice.
I was really excited to finally see Mark Hamill say and do things in this film.
Yes.
I was glad that some parts of it he actually looked like Luke Skywalker. I think his overall look was just really good for the Jedi Master, and you know that he's just, it's been, 20 years, whatever?
Yeah.
And just really cool. I thought he was really cool in it, like what you would expect Luke Skywalker to look like.
Yes. Maybe not behave like, but look like.
What he would look like. His mannerisms were very much the same, because of course it's Mark Hamill, so you could see a little bit of young Luke Skywalker in there to definitely help connect it with the original trilogy.
And there's a scene in the movie where him and Chewie kind of reunite. I'll probably get back into that in my negatives because it wasn't as good as I had hoped, but it was still fun to see them on screen together again. Like, hey, it's Luke and Chewie.
It was much better than previously with Chewie and
Leia. Yes, absolutely.
I liked it a lot better than the Chewie and Leia reunion.
Yes. And I have to say, the visual effects in this movie are incredible. I mean, it's a Star Wars movie. They've
really
always pushed the bar.
Complain much about much of the special effects in this movie. Everything was very, very detailed, very well done.
Yes.
I was glad they kind of brought Yoda's Force Ghost back.
Yeah.
We'll get into his with the negatives. Yeah. I'm really glad they used a puppet this time.
They made him, he looked exactly the way he looked in The Empire Strikes Back. Well, I think that was mainly the lighting and stuff. But the puppetry, mostly the way he moved, was the exact same way that they had him move in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, because he was a puppet done all by Frank Oz. And
I'm so glad Frank Oz was Yoda still.
Yes.
Like, it's amazing to me that his voice hasn't really changed over the years.
Right.
It's a long time ago, and he's still doing that.
In a galaxy far, far away.
He's still doing that voice.
Yeah, he's still doing it.
It's just awesome. It's just great.
Yeah. I was happy to see Snoke. That was awesome. In his full physical glory, I guess you could say. And I thought he was originally supposed to be a practical effect. But in this, he looked completely CGI, but believable, photorealistic, and it was really well done. And I thoroughly enjoyed his character. However, I'll get back to him in the negatives because there's some stuff to talk about.
The negatives too.
But yeah, all the CGI in this movie is just incredible. There's not a point where it's like, oh, that's a bad CGI effect. Well, maybe one creature, and I'll get back to that in a little bit, in the negatives as well. But yeah, the ships look awesome, and I gotta say, I love the variety of ships. There weren't quite enough because they only decided to bring in A-wings, and I did like the bombers that fly through, but they weren't like the fighter bombers like Y-wings or B-wings. But they did bring in the scrapers, whatever they were, on that planet with the salt. That was cool. But Kylo Ren's TIE fighter was awesome. That was really cool.
Very cool. And we're also talking, like, I really like, I wanted more lightsaber duels because the lightsabers were awesome. And I really liked, even though they show a lot of it in the previews, Rey's practicing with the lightsaber and her stick. I really liked that montage. Yeah. It wasn't quite like Karate Kid, but it was she was kind of
verging on that.
Yeah, but I actually liked it. I thought it worked for her. And Daisy Ridley is really good at moving in a way that it's a different style of lightsaber dueling. It's not so much swashbuckling, but it works somehow, and I really like her own style of it. I don't know, I just really liked watching her
rough
fight.
And yet elegant at the same time. Like she doesn't quite know what she's gonna do in the next move, but she does it anyway in a smooth-ish way.
Yeah, it's very graceful
cool.
and well done, and it doesn't seem like it would work that well, but
Yeah.
it does with the lightsaber. I think just because she's used to the staff she has. She's used to fighting with that.
Yeah.
And then
She's
she
been fighting with
tries
that for years.
the lightsaber and everything. So I really liked that. And I have to say, one of my absolute favorite moments in the movie is when Kylo Ren decides to kill Snoke, and then they start fighting off all of the red guards.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Kylo Ren and Rey. That, oh my gosh, was just like, it took my, like literally took my breath away. I was like, this is amazing, and I wanted more of it. I was like, I didn't want it to end, even though the red guys drove me crazy. But the way they were moving and working together, it just made it like really cool. And I liked the idea of the bridging in between them. Yeah. With the Force and them talking to each other. It got a little uncomfortable at points. But I liked the concept of it. I think they could have done more with it, or maybe even less. Yeah. It's hard to explain.
Less is more in that sense.
Less is more, yeah. And then,
this is not the first time that we've seen people talking through the Force. Right. Darth Vader did it to Luke at the end of Empire Strikes Back. Not as much as they did in this one.
Luke and Leia sort of kind of did it when she notices.
He's calling to her and she's like, we have to go back. Like she feels him through the Force. Back to that lightsaber fight with the guards. I'm pretty sure that those red guards were the Knights of Ren that Kylo Ren is supposed to be like the master of. So that's why they were so skilled at fighting. At first I didn't quite get it. I'm like, well, how are these guards so good at fighting, and why do they all have different weapons? It was kind of annoying to me. And then after thinking about it, I'm like, oh, that's probably the Knights of Ren. That makes sense to me.
I don't know for sure.
I thought it was a very bold move, and I appreciate it that they killed off Snoke. Like, in the middle of the movie. It wasn't at the end of the movie. It was, like, right smack dab in the middle. There's still, like, the climax of the movie yet to happen, pretty much. And they pulled that off really quick. And again, we'll get back to that in the negatives, because I liked it and didn't.
Yeah, I liked the fact that Rey kind of predicted it and didn't at the same time.
And even Snoke predicted it, but didn't see it, all the details.
Yes.
That was cool.
And for me, that just added so much more of a likableness to Kylo Ren, because he is able to fool the Supreme Leader Snoke, who is clearly a powerful Sith. But you didn't get a whole lot of his power in it, and I felt like he was almost like, in the original trilogy, you have the build-up to the Emperor. You only ever just see him in the background or on a transmission or whatever.
Yeah, until Return of the Jedi.
Yes, and he somehow is like manipulating Luke's mind. In this one, he's doing the same thing to Rey, but in a much more physical way. But
almost
I felt
torturing her.
Yeah, but I felt like it was so rushed. I'm like, already she's facing the supervillain?
Yeah.
Like a video game. You're already in the supervillain mode? Like, what's happening?
You used a cheat code to get to the last level.
Yeah, exactly. You use the cheat. That's true.
And now you got to deal with the bonus levels after.
Right.
They're much harder.
You might not be skilled enough to master it, but you use the cheat codes to get there. But I'm excited and nervous of how they're going to move forward.
Right.
With this,
because now Kylo Ren is technically the Supreme Leader.
Yeah, and we'll talk about General Hux in the negatives.
Yes. I was glad to see him come back, though.
I was too.
And he's still a good actor. And that's pretty much all the positives I have to say for his character.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Everything with Poe Dameron was consistent with his character. I liked the intro scene with him.
How they started out with him again.
They kept consistent with that. They're like, okay, we started Force Awakens, let's start Last Jedi with him and have him actually doing something in an X-Wing this time. And that was awesome.
Delivered.
I didn't quite get the extra boost of that engine that they had to use, because it's like those ships are fast enough when they close their S-foils and they can go really fast. So they used that little boost to get to the dreadnought, I think it was, faster, which is bombarding their base on that planet, and they're trying to evacuate everyone, which they successfully do. And I didn't like how they only have one fighter, which is Poe Dameron, taking on everything, and then they bring in the bombers. It's like, it didn't quite work the way you planned. I don't know, it was cool to see it all happen, and that, you know, you get the X-Wing flying around, the sound effects were amazing, and then seeing the A-Wings come back, that was awesome.
And they show the full ship.
They show everything, and they actually give a character in that ship something more to do than just be like, blue leader standing by or something.
So I want to go back to Luke right quick. Now, I know Mike does not agree with me, but when Luke dies, I actually really liked that part because it was very reminiscent of Yoda just kind of being done and just disappearing, and his coat flies off, or his robe flies off. Yeah. I liked that.
I liked how they did it.
Yeah, and I think it could have been done slightly differently, but obviously I'm not the writer. I thought that was okay. I was like, okay, I can accept that, especially after what he did with. I did not take it like he did. Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Well, I just thought that the reasons that he's dying is not because he's dying of old age like Yoda or being sliced in half by a lightsaber like Obi-Wan. He just overexerted himself just a little bit, and it's like he had a heart attack. He's like, all right, I'm done. Like, I just thought it was a lame death. It was nicely done, but the reasons behind it, I totally disagree with.
I think
totally.
I liked the reasons behind it, but I don't think they built up his new, older self, Master Jedi Luke Skywalker enough for it to be really great.
Right, because
I think it was good, but I don't think it was a really great death for Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Well, because Raven said, you've closed yourself off to the Force, so I thought that he would have to build himself up to being able to use the Force again. Mm-hmm. And then he's shown to be able to project himself on a planet far, far away and physically talk to people and touch and give people gifts like Leia.
Fight.
And he doesn't really fight, he just kind of evades Kylo Ren and all the lasers. It's like, I didn't see that as justifiable in how they handled his use of the Force earlier on in the movie, because he really never does.
All I'm saying is I think it was a good death for Luke Skywalker. I just don't think it should have been then.
Right.
I think they should have waited till the next movie and really built up his new character. But again, it's just one of those preference things.
I did like, absolutely, actually, I loved the fact that they are moving on from calling the resistance and starting to call it the rebellion again. At least that's how I saw it. Like, they pretty much said, how do we start the rebellion with this many people? And everyone that's part of the resistance / rebellion is now on the Millennium Falcon at the end of this movie. Like, we have 20 people to start this. And
to lead this.
There's other people. Yeah, there are other planets and systems that could join the cause, that are going to, because we only have one more movie. I did like the fact that Luke's lightsaber, Anakin's lightsaber, broke in half. And Rey is basically like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, how do I rebuild this? I really hope, that they don't just rebuild it and put it back together and it's fine. I hope that she has to build her own, like Luke had to at the end of, or at the beginning of Return of the Jedi, which was actually a deleted scene, and that it's maybe a new color that we haven't seen. That would be kind of cool, because...
Like what, pink or yellow?
Purple. I think it would be cool to see purple again, or maybe like a teal color. I would prefer just anything not blue, because there's been too much blue lightsabers lately.
But blue is awesome.
Blue is my favorite color. But
blue lightsaber
I'd like to see the green lightsaber return, which was awesome. We did get to see the return of the green lightsaber for a couple seconds, mainly in flashbacks. It was the same scene, just shown from a different perspective each time. And that was cool, but it wasn't enough. And actually, I think that is the only lightsaber clash that we have in the movie, where two lightsabers actually hit each other. I think that's the only one that we get in the movie. Again, though, I hope that Rey has to make her own lightsaber, and maybe it's a yellow one. That'd be kind of cool. We see that in the newer video games, I guess. I haven't played them. I've seen trailers for them. But I think it would also be cool to have her maybe do a double-sided lightsaber because she's used to fighting with a staff. I think that would be cool. Bring back the Darth Maul type of lightsaber. I think there are a lot of possibilities, and if they keep it safe and just go with a repaired version of Luke's lightsaber, I think it's too safe and a mistake. It's definitely a missed opportunity. Now, I know that there are probably a lot more cameos than the ones that I'm going to list. I only found 2, and that was while we were watching the movie. I haven't done any research on any of them. But there's a scene where Joseph Gordon-Levitt comes in. You only see him from the side, and it's really profile. He is the radar tech for the First Order that sees kind of a glitch in the computer screen when Benicio del Toro's character and Finn and Rose, they're coming in to sabotage the Snoke's ship. And I thought that was funny. I leaned over to you and I'm like, that was Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I don't know if you heard me.
I did not catch it.
I was trying to be super quiet.
I heard you, but I didn't catch it. I didn't recognize it at all.
The other was Gareth Edwards, the director of Rogue One, which is arguably, in my opinion, one of my favorite Star Wars movies. He was one of the Resistance soldiers in the trench on that salt planet, which I keep forgetting the name of. I think it was Crate. He's standing next to the soldier that tastes the salt, and then Gareth Edwards is standing right next to him, and he looks over at him like, idiot.
Okay.
So I thought those were cool. I'm like, hey, I know those guys.
Now, I did hear about another cameo with Prince Harry and Prince William. I did not see them, but I also wasn't looking for them, but I heard about it afterwards, going, I wonder when that could have been.
Yeah, if you guys know where that was or when it was, let us know, because, I mean, obviously I'm probably going to look it up, but...
And we'll probably go see it again.
Yeah.
So let's get into the negatives. I want to start with the pretty big disappointments in this movie. One of which is the fact that you still don't really know where Rey comes from.
Yeah.
They built it up in this movie yet again, and you're just kind of like, I don't know if he's messing with us, or if she really doesn't come from anywhere. If she doesn't, then why'd they build it up so much? If it's a deflection, then why didn't they just say it later when before Luke dies? He can know. Does anybody really know who she is? If she's not from anywhere, I'm really disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, really, I was let down.
They built it up so much in The Force Awakens, like,
What
okay,
girl
Rey,
is-
when Kylo Ren finds out that Finn and BB-8 and I think it was just them two, they were helped by a girl, and Kylo Ren's like, what girl? Like, this is an important character that he possibly knows about. And then in this movie, they're like, I know who your parents are, and it's all this build-up. When she asks the Harry Potter mirror, basically, to show her who her parents are, and my heart was racing at that moment. I'm like, we're actually going to get to see who it is. I'm like, it better not be Luke. I would be super mad, and it better not be Han Solo and Leia, because I'll be upset. And they showed nothing. They showed her, and I'm like...
Which I think was a callback. It's almost like when Luke went into the swamp without Yoda, he's like, you don't need to take your weapons.
Yep.
And he ends up slicing off the head of Darth Vader, and then looks when the mask explodes and it's himself.
It's him,
I felt like that was what they were trying to do with it, and I'm not quite sure like what the purpose of it was.
Yeah.
Like, is she looking at herself? Is she just knowing herself better through it? I think that was probably what they were going for,
like,
but it wasn't clear.
You don't need to know who your parents are. You're special without them being important.
But I'm not, which could be true, and if that's the case, it's a cool concept, whatever. But when they clearly built it up to make you think that she's from somewhere that we already know, and then to be doing that, and again, it could just have been Kylo Ren trying
her,
to have some sort of power over her
Yeah,
to
like,
say,
you're
nobody.
nothing.
But you're nobody that I can help. That I'm going to help.
But you're special to me. I did like that part. Because he was very manipulative there. And I forgot to mention in my positives, he is an incredible actor.
Yes.
Adam Driver.
He's done.
Awesome. He was awesome in The Force Awakens. He's awesome in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And he was probably the best actor in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Daisy Ridley very close behind.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not like how they built it up and just kind of were like, don't worry about it. It's not important. I still hope, at least, that it was a misdirection, that she is from somewhere important and somewhere familiar. I think that would be great because Kylo Ren, the big villain, is from somewhere familiar and important. Why can't the main protagonist be from somewhere important and familiar? Also, the fact that when she's having that vision and you hear her narration of that scene, that scene and a few other scenes within this movie are completely different from any Star Wars related storytelling, like the way the movies go, and it kind of pulled me out of the movie a little bit, where it's in real time that you're seeing it, and then suddenly she's narrating. It's like, that came out of nowhere. I did not agree with that.
Yeah, it definitely, like you said, that's a good way to put it. It just pulled me out, and I was like, where are we again?
And the fact that they kept revisiting the memory of how originally Luke was going to kill Kylo Ren. He kind of wanted to, but he stopped himself. And they kept going back to that memory where, Luke is visiting Kylo Ren at night, or Ben Solo at night, because he thinks that Snoke has already taken him. So that was another instance where it's like, Star Wars has never done this type of stuff, and I didn't like it.
Didn't quite work.
I wanted more of that flashback because we wanted to see how everything caught on fire, what happened there.
And huge disappointment because you're like, okay. Thinking about episode 6, where did it go from there? How did Snoke get into power? It's clearly a militant government at this point. The resistance is still strong with the rebellion or whatever at a certain point, but they're getting weaker because now it's military, so everything is very much about physical power.
Yep.
And you don't know where any of it came from. Like, how did this happen? I'm not quite sure what Princess Leia's role is anymore.
How does Snoke come into power? Where does he come from? Who was he? And unfortunately, we probably won't be finding out because he's dead.
He's already been killed off.
I appreciated the boldness to kill him off. It was too soon.
Wrong timing.
Wrong timing.
With him and
in the middle of the movie. Again, I appreciate the boldness, but it was misplaced, and he goes out just anticlimactically, if that's even a word. I thought for sure, I saw Kylo Ren turning the lightsaber toward him. I thought for sure Snoke was playing him at the same time, and as he's about to activate the lightsaber, he pushes it away with the Force. So the lightsaber activates, but it's on the ground. Like, you didn't get me, Kylo Ren, and now you're on my kill list too. Like, that's how I wanted it to go. But it didn't, because I thought Snoke was a great and mysterious character that I really wanted to see more of, and they just got rid of him.
Yep.
I feel like that was more of a directorial dispute. Like, J.J. Abrams was like, this is going to be a great character that the next directors are going to take and have so much fun with, and Rian Johnson's like, I don't like him. Let's kill him off. Like, he's not that great. Andy Serkis, he's got a great voice, but the character, not so great. Let's kill him. I didn't appreciate that.
I just hope that now that Kylo Ren is the big bad guy, they'll do more with him.
Yeah.
Because you still have hope for him. I mean, I hope he's not totally consumed by the dark side, but
I hope he is.
Like he is. And I don't know. But we'll see. Because I still feel like that's where the tension is going to come in for the dark side in the next one, with General Hux being the sniveling kiss-up that he is with now who's the Supreme Leader, and Kylo Ren choking him. I really liked that part.
Yes. I kind of like their relationship.
I'm glad he was back, but then you're like, oh, good,
other.
he's back, and then you get totally deflated because he was awful in the.
Well,
I just
mainly because of the
his
comedy.
character, like it was all comic relief,
Yeah.
and it was like, where is the General Hux from the last movie?
Yeah.
And I didn't like his sideburns.
I laughed the first time that at the beginning when Poe Dameron's like, yeah, this is Poe Dameron, I'm calling for General Hugs. Like, it was kind of funny, but they kept it going, like, okay, I'll hold, and he's like, can you hear me? I can hear you, can you hear me? It was funny, but it wasn't Star Wars funny. It didn't feel right in a Star Wars movie. A lot of the comedy feels that way. There was only one moment where I thought it would have worked if they cut it shorter, and that's when Chewie is about to eat the porg, which looked super fake, by the way. And then the other porgs are looking at him, and he roars and gets them away. And then they keep going with it. It's like, here's another one. He roars at that one. Here's another one. It's like, okay, that's enough.
We get it.
Yeah, we get it.
He's not going to eat the porg.
Let's just talk about the porgs, because they were cute.
Not cute enough to like.
Yes. They were so annoying.
Their sound was all over the place, and it got in the way of the dialogue, and you're just like, why is that sound even there? Why are they in the background?
Every time they show a wide shot of the island, you hear a porg sound. It's like, we get it. They're there. We understand that. And why did they get on the ship? How did they get on the ship?
I don't know, and I don't know why.
Why did Chewie let them on there?
Yeah, if he feels bad, I don't know. But
snacks for the flight?
I think, honestly, they were meant to be sort of like a tribble, because I felt like a lot of things in this Star Wars movie was way too Star Trek-y.
Way
the costumes
too much.
And the cleanliness of everything,
and the
modern day type, not modern day, but earthly type cultures.
Yeah, on the casino planet, whatever.
I don't know if they were trying to do another cantina, but I was like, this is like pulling us back to the 1920s where aliens are wearing tuxedos. That's supposed to be in Star Trek. That's not in Star Wars. Everything in Star Wars is dirty and jerry-rigged, and people are trying to figure out how to. There's a lot of poverty, and there's power in like places like Jabba's palace, where it's just kind of the nitty-gritty type stuff, and I just felt like it was just too clean.
That whole story revolving around Finn and Rose getting to Benicio del Toro's character, I think his name is DJ, the hacker, all of that was unnecessary because they did nothing.
You could have taken it all out and it wouldn't have been any better.
They did absolutely nothing because what they wanted to do didn't get done because Laura Dern's character shoots off into light speed and destroys like half of the fleet that was chasing him, which was awesome. That was an awesome scene. But again, that negates everything that Finn and Rose were doing because they didn't need to do any of that. It was just stupid. They visit that stupid planet with the casino, which was completely out of context with everything. It did not need to be in there. Everything about those scenes just annoyed me. The horse creatures that looked like Yoda faces were dumb.
They found the person they were supposed to get in contact with, and then when they escaped the jail that they were in because they parked on the beach instead of with whatever, they didn't even try to go back to find him and
yeah.
I was like,
oh, we got this guy.
You had one job to do, and it was very clear. Now, I don't know why Maz Kanata was in this.
Oh my gosh.
In a silly transmission that wasn't even like a Star Wars transmission. It was like a screen hologram where you could see everything happening. And I was just like, why is she? Clearly, she's in the middle of a skirmish.
Something's going on.
And clearly, she's not going to talk and tell you where to get somebody that you need. And then to have the ability to show them the flower on the hologram.
I'm like, how is she doing this?
I don't think so. And I just was disappointed to see her. I didn't want to see her.
Yeah, I did not want her back in this movie. I appreciated her character in the last one. Poe
Dameron didn't even know her in the first one, did he?
No.
I just thought of that. He didn't even know her, and now he's talking to her, asking her for help.
Finn was the only one in that scene that knew her.
And I didn't understand. Now we're just rolling with it.
There's a lot to talk about with the negatives, unfortunately.
And it's all in the little details that just didn't come together. Like the crystal foxes they were cool special effects, but oh
Yeah.
my goodness, the only reason they were there was to get them into the abandoned rebel base and out.
Yeah.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really sure why they're crystal foxes.
Yeah.
The
Like, 'cause
sound
they
design
live
was
on a
awesome.
salt
They
planet?
looked really cool, but I'm like, this isn't even a Hoth type planet. It's
Yeah.
a salt planet. So
I doubt that there
where
would be
are
any
they-
life on that planet as it is, but
And why is it red? I don't know. I thought it was cool,
It was
but I
cool,
don't.
yeah.
They didn't explain why. But I don't know. And then the other confusing thing is after their whole Rey and Ben's skirmish, she disappears and reappears on the Millennium Falcon, which is
Yeah.
going and saving them. I'm like, how did she get there?
we only
I
hear a
don't
line
understand.
of dialogue like, she took Snoke's shuttle. It's like, okay,
She's not on his
why don't
shuttle.
you shoot it down? And then she's
She's not-
randomly on the Millennium Falcon.
And it just like, I don't know if there was a deleted scene in there that we missed.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of, where did she come from?
Yeah.
And then Luke, obviously, you know, he just appears because he's a Force hologram.
He's like, yeah, Force
he's like
hologram.
a Force hologram. And we've never really seen that before.
No.
Which I
We
guess
knew-
is kind of, I knew something was up because his look was different.
Yeah,
I'm like,
he's
why
like,
is
I
this?
want to look differently in my projection of myself.
Does he still have a crush on his sister?
Yeah, that was weird.
Is he trying to dye his hair and
Yeah.
make himself look younger? What is
was weird.
happening? And again, I think it was an okay concept. I just don't
Yeah.
think I wasn't quite sure what was happening.
I hated
with it.
the scene. That
It
that
could have been
part.
good.
I'm like,
I think that was
that
a
is
Mark Hamill
that
thing.
is a Earth thing that we do, which was stupid, and I did not like the fact that that's how he dies again. But to talk a little bit about Mark Hamill, it was great to see him in the movie. But as Luke Skywalker, nothing he does is what Luke Skywalker would do. And even Mark Hamill agrees with that statement. I think he told the director, Rian Johnson, like, everything that you wrote, I completely disagree with. That being said, now I will act for you. Like, he did not like his character in this movie. I don't even think he liked the movie.
Well, he didn't
But-
train Rey the way I felt like he
No.
should have, but I don't know if they were trying to get away from like the Karate Kid type thing where she
Yeah.
doesn't even want a teacher. She kept saying, I'm here because they sent me to get you and I'm not
Yeah.
leaving without you. And he does give lessons, but it was also like, I'm not really sure what the time period is here.
Yeah.
Like, how long is she there?
Yeah.
Those little creatures that are like nuns on the
Oh, the
island
caretakers?
were awful.
Those were stupid. That
And
was like prequel era aliens right there. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You're going to go there with that? That
And-
was stupid.
And I just wasn't quite sure where any of his motivation lies. Obviously, he has a backstory, but I don't know why his failure with Ben would have completely shifted his character
Yeah.
in the
to
way
just
it was shifted.
pull away from everything.
Yeah, because
family.
now he's saying the Jedi need to end.
Yeah.
And they took that and didn't take it where I thought they were
No.
going to take it, and it wasn't really even good.
The way that I really wanted it to go was Rey's like pushing him to try and train him, like, or to try and train her. Like, you need to train me. You need to show me the ways of the Force. I need a teacher and all this stuff. And like eventually he just gets all frustrated with her and just starts almost turning evil on her. Like, go away, like choking her and fighting her. And I mean, they even teased that in the teaser and trailers and stuff, which again, that is trailer misdirection. We've gotten that time and time again, especially with Star Wars movies. We got that again here. Some of it was slightly misdirected, but you kind of see it a little bit. And one part, they reversed a shot of Rey. Looks like she's activating the lightsaber to like almost attack or kill Luke. And in the movie, she's actually putting it down. And she does grab the lightsaber because they are fighting. But I thought it was going to be like, she's pushing him to train, and she actually, like, kind of defeats him, and he's like, okay, fine, I will train you. That's how I wanted it to go. It didn't quite go that way, and she just kind of leaves him at that point. Mm-hmm. And that was a little disappointing, and that's when Yoda comes in, which...
Again, you appreciate the fact that Yoda is a puppet and everything, but I don't know if it was the lighting or his advancement in the puppetry from the other one, but his entrance was very disappointing. You see Yoda and you're like, yes, Yoda, and then he does this little like jiggity jig thing with his feet, and I'm just like, who?
After he sticks up his middle finger to call lightning down and strike the tree that Luke's going to burn, but he can't quite bring himself to. I just, first off, I know Yoda is very powerful, or was very powerful. Now he's a Force ghost. I guess he's like one with the Force, and the Force is with him. But can he still physically interact with things and call for lightning? He was never able to do that before. He was only able to deflect lightning back. At least in the prequels, they showed him to be way more powerful than we ever thought that he was going to be. But
I thought that somehow Yoda was going to show Luke this sort of like transcendence, not above the Force, but with that actual balance of light and dark. Like you can't just be light and you can't just be dark. You have to have that.
Yeah, the balance.
The balance. But it just didn't work that way. And then you're like trying to be sad about this tree, and I'm just like, is the tree done burning yet? Are we done with this scene?
Can we move on?
Move on to whatever else? And I don't know, Yoda just looked a little funny to me.
Yeah.
It just,
Well, back to what you were talking about it feeling more Star Trek-y. The whole sequence and the whole story of the Resistance trying to get away is so slow. Because they were tracked through hyperspace, and it's like, okay, we don't have that much fuel left. We have enough for one more jump. And so we're just going to cruise at relatively high velocity and just slowly just pull away from the First Order. That was like so slow, and the entire time, Poe Dameron is the only consistent character, really, and trying to be like, we need to do something. I can't just sit here. And Laura Dern's character takes over, which got a sidetrack. Leia gets blown out into space. We think that she's dead. At first I was like, well, that's a pretty terrible way to kill off her character, but
it's worse
they can
when
kill
you bring
off her
her
character.
back.
The way they brought her back was awful. It was
Guardians
like you said,
of the Galaxy much?
Yeah.
Like when he's just floating in space, and then all of a sudden he comes to and is able to somehow take it.
And she uses the Force to pull herself back. Like that entire scene, I was like,
it makes
that was
sense
awful.
that she would know how to do that, I guess, because it's been a few years. Maybe Luke trained her a little bit because she has Force abilities, I guess.
Yeah, she's Force sensitive.
That doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen.
Awful, though.
It's awful the way they did it, and I just don't know. I'm like, are you trying to make her cool?
Yeah, is she technically the last Jedi now?
Is she... Like, what is happening? And then
I hated that
she
part.
somehow had a plan in her head the whole time that magically the other general,
they got
Laura
there.
Dern's character knows about.
Yeah, and why didn't they tell anybody else?
And why didn't they say anything to anybody else? Because then Poe Dameron and them wouldn't have had to do any of that craziness.
We would have saved ourselves some time with Finn and Rose going to that stupid story.
And it didn't work anyway.
None of that was
because then they shot down half the rebellion with the thing. And it's just like, oh my word, it
was all bad. That whole thing until they get to that planet.
And then the whole skirmish between Finn and Phasma.
That was disappointing.
Disappointed.
I thought it was going to be so much better. I wanted Phasma to survive. Because I'm like, she needs to last another movie because she's like a higher up in the First Order. And they already killed off Snoke. And then they're like, and Phasma's gone.
Yeah. And then I don't understand about Finn and Rose. I was like, is it a romantic thing? Is she have a crush on him? Because he still likes Rey.
Yeah.
And I'm just not sure if it was supposed to be like a dramatic love triangle or square, because now Kylo Ren could possibly be like Rey. And
or Poe Dameron might like Rey.
Or Poe Dameron when they meet. And it's just like, I'm so confused at what is actually happening. And then Rose kisses Finn.
And then I thought she died.
It was like a Les Mis death where she's like Eponine, like, but then she's not dead.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and her character drove me crazy.
Yeah. No.
drove me crazy. And Finn drove me crazy.
The way she spoke was way too crispy sounding. I don't know if that was just me, but every time she said a line, I'm like, it just sounds like all her S's and K's were like really, they were really sharp sounding to me. I didn't like it. It sounded like her voice was like 80 yard. And I don't know, that just kind of bothered me a little bit.
Her hair drove me crazy too. I'm like, put those things behind your ears.
Yeah. The fact that they kind of teased us with character deaths. And they're like, psych! Like, Leia. She gets blown out into space. You're like, oh, that character's dead. And it was sad because Carrie Fisher, unfortunately, passed away before this movie released about a year ago. But they tease her death. They're like, okay, this character's dead. No, she's going to save herself. And then Finn is about ready to sacrifice himself. And they're like, nope, Rose is going to save him. And then it's like, okay, Rose just died. Nope, she's still alive. But with the bad guys, they're like, Snoke's dead. Phasma's dead. Like, they're just... I did not like that. It was inconsistent. All the good guys survive, and all the bad guys are dying. It's like... And except for Luke. Luke was like, okay, we're just going to get rid of him because we don't need any of the old actors anymore.
Let's hope he comes back as a Force ghost.
Yeah, I hope so. Because this movie, like, because unfortunately Carrie Fisher cannot return in episode 9, I don't know how they're going to write her character out of the story. But Chewie's going to be the only remaining, returning, original character from the original series, or the original trilogy, and that's kind of sad. I wanted Luke to return. They also wanted Leia to return, but she can't. I just thought it was a bad idea to kill off Luke, and to just,
keep
like, this movie passes the torch really quick. I don't think they needed to pass the torch. I think they could have, like, held the torch together and gone to the next movie. But whatever, I can look past that because it was still a somewhat enjoyable movie with a lot of negatives, and there's still more to talk about. So midway or early on in the movie, Rey is on that island with Luke, and she looks down into the water and sees Luke's old X-Wing crashed in the water. And first off, I gotta be like, Luke is a terrible pilot. He can never land correctly on land. He's always crashing into water. He did that on Dagobah. Apparently he did that here. And I so badly wanted that X-Wing to come back into play. I thought Luke was going to have brought in his X-Wing to that planet, and the Millennium Falcon and Luke's old X-Wing, maybe Poe Dameron is piloting, like, hey man, this is an awesome X-Wing. It's much better than my old one or my new one. I'm going to apply this one from now on. I thought that would have been awesome, because Poe Dameron would be able to actually do something after that first scene, because he did nothing.
When he failed.
He failed. He was committing mutiny, and he failed. So everything that Poe Dameron did from 10 minutes on was useless, and I thought they could have given him something to do with Luke's X-Wing, which would have been fantastic. The X-Wing and the Millennium Falcon, giving aerial support for those scrapers on Crate would have been so cool to see. And we just have nothing. Luke's X-Wing just remains under the water. Mm-hmm. And why? I don't even understand why they even showed it if they weren't going to do anything with it. Maybe they'll bring it back in the next one. I think that would be cool. Because maybe Poe Dameron is looking for a new ship. He's in the market. And Rey's like, oh, I saw an X-Wing. Like, I'll take you back there.
So then this whole time they're talking about the spark to light the new rebellion fire, and you see it happening with Rey, potentially. But then you go back to the casino planet with all the slaves, and there's
the stable kids.
And the stable boys, which is cute and all. But then you see this boy just kind of flips back to him, and they're talking about Luke Skywalker. And
at the very end of the movie.
Very end of the movie. And he comes out into the night looking all like Les Mis Cosette or the whatever. And he uses the Force just ever so slightly to grab his broom and start sweeping hay up. And then he looks up at the night sky, and you're just like, what is happening?
And you hear the Force theme. It's like...
And I can appreciate, oh, it's a youngling. He can be trained in the Force, and this is going to be the new generation of Jedi but then you're just kind of like, but who is this kid?
Yeah, where did
you see him partially with the rebellion ring when Rose and Finn kind of use their help in the stables to get away. But what do you do with that next one? I don't know, and it didn't leave me caring.
Yeah.
I'm like, I see what you're trying to do, but I just don't care what happens. I don't.
I have a terrible feeling that will not come back into play in the next movie.
Yeah.
Because Rian Johnson, the director of this movie, has been given the story responsibility and the first movie of a new trilogy of Star Wars movies. And I'm afraid that they're going to focus on that character. Like, it's a new Jedi. Yay!
But we already have a new Jedi.
Yeah, we don't need another one. I do not want another trilogy of Jedis. Not yet. If we're going to have another trilogy, do completely unrelated to Jedi. Or do it in the Old Republic or something. I've said it time and time again, I think it would be cool to have just at least one movie, a trilogy would be awesome, of Rebel fighters, X-Wing pilots, A-Wing, B-Wing, Y-Wing pilots. That would be cool. Just a movie about them. A trilogy about them would be cool, but might be too much. I don't think that's a good launching point on a story that did not make sense for this movie to be like, here's a new character that's going to be the focus of a new trilogy, possibly. That was a bad move.
As much as I like the music in these Star Wars movies, this one was very repetitive. I felt like it was the same song throughout the whole thing. And we got a few of the themes, but not in good places.
Well, it felt like they just kept reusing the same song. Like they weren't composing a new song for each scene. It's like, here we are back on this planet. Let's replay the Luke and Rey theme. And here we are back with Kylo Ren. Let's replay the First Order theme. And then Leia's theme, we're back here, and the Resistance theme, let's play that theme.
It just seemed a little lazy.
Yeah.
Like a lazy
very
put together of this. And
then another version of the Cantina theme when they're in the casino. That was, it sounded kind of cool, but stop trying to recreate the Cantina. It's never going to work. Just
the original's
get
best.
off of it. The original's the best. And we don't need any more Cantina scenes. Please, no more in Episode 9. Please.
So in this one, my nostalgia definitely wore off completely. And it was very difficult to get through. I felt like as many good things as there were a lot of eye rolls and not good expressions from me. Like, I was pretty disappointed. And that's not even... I think I did pretty well with trying to keep the hype down, and I was still disappointed, you know. And just with a lot of different things, just the disappointment with storylines that they really should have focused on and didn't, and then bringing in other storylines that just didn't make sense, and the Star Trekkiness of it all. I give Star Wars The Last Jedi a B, and that's being pretty generous.
Yeah. Overall, I was very disappointed with this movie. And that might be my fault for getting too hyped for it and being super excited because it's been 2 years since The Force Awakens, and I really did enjoy The Force Awakens, and to see the continuation of the new characters was exciting to me. And after Rogue One, I loved Rogue One. I'm like, if we can continue on with this kind of feeling, that would be great. Unfortunately, there's way too much comedy crammed into this, unnecessary comedy, a completely unnecessary storyline with Finn and Rose that could have been completely omitted and the movie would have been so much better. I did like all of Kylo Ren's stuff. I liked all of Rey's stuff. Luke was pretty much useless in the movie until the very end. He didn't match the old Luke, which was very disappointing to me. I hated how he first starts in and he just throws the lightsaber over his shoulder. That was lame. The Porgs are annoying. They use the same sound effect over and over and over again. And the music is repetitive. There's a lot, unfortunately, that went wrong with this movie, but the action is awesome. The special effects are awesome. The music is great. However, it is repetitive. I have to give Star Wars The Last Jedi a B+. It's not as good as Force Awakens or any of the original trilogy, but it's around the prequels for me, unfortunately. And I really, really wanted to like this movie a lot more. I thought it was going to be an improvement over the last one, and it's not.
So we really want to know what you guys think. There's been a lot of talk about this movie, a lot of disagreements and controversy over whether or not it was good. So we want to know what you guys think, so let us know in the comment section below.
And if you like this video, be sure to give it a big ol' thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button so you can be notified of when we upload new content. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.